this a theme song?
It's just some introductory music. It sounds fun. I don't know.
The overture.
Gets us all in the spirit a little bit.
Hi, Ruth.
So here we are. Welcome to the Saturday service. Today is May the 1st, 2021, and this is the 52nd service that we've done, which is amazing. And as one of my wise-ass friends texted me, he said, a 52-second service? That's the kind of service everyone can go to. Okay, apparently the joke was much funnier when he texted it than in reading it aloud. Welcome to Saturday Service. I'm Rabbi Brian. I'm here with all these friends. Everyone, friends, wave, say hi.
Hi.
Wave to each other. And
Hi.
there are people who are watching this on Facebook and on YouTube and streaming it afterwards, and I want to welcome all those people as well. I had a text from one of them, but I have so much to talk about today that I don't want to I don't want to stumble very much. The goal of this service, if I were to make a goal of this service, I'm going to say the goal of this service is to cajole you into finding and being with the God of your understanding. That the goal of this service is to help you to find and be with the God of your understanding. And last week we talked some more about this God word, God of your understanding. And I want to talk a little bit more. Oh, I ran out of room. There we go. The goal here is to cajole you to find and be with the God of your understanding. And that means we'll get to the meaning of that in a second. And part of what I'm doing here, I thought about it, is by me doing a service that's different in the way that I see fit, I think if there could be a hidden sermon in that, it would be to encourage everyone to make art, to do things their own way, and to have a little bit more fun. That concludes my TED Talk. Thank you. It's going to be a little fast-paced today. We are going to be talking about humility. We are going to be talking about, we're going to do a little God-splaining in a moment. And we are going to learn the story of Charlie and the Condoms. That being said...
Charlie and Condoms?
Charlie and the Condoms. That is the title of the story. Yes. So...
Wow.
If you are here with, if your children are here, I trust that you have, you're in charge of your children's education. We are not going to necessarily tamper our language down. The story of Charlie and the Condoms is an important story for all people of all ages, so stay tuned. It's going to be fun. And, hey, look, my daughter's on the line. So, hi, Annie. Glad to see you're there.
Don't plug your ears, Annie.
So here we go. The first thing I want us to talk about, and it is going to be a little fast-paced, and it is okay for us to do that today. I want us to talk a little bit more. We had left off at humility last week. And before we jump straight in, I want to remind us why we thought humility was important, was that humility, the reason we got to it was because we wondered what led to wisdom. And the answer we came up with was that humility, unless you had space, unless you knew that you don't know everything, you're not going to get to wisdom. And then in this, there's a hole in my bucket kind of, what we said, what leads to wisdom? Oh no, we did it the other way. We said that wisdom leads to kindness. That was how we did it. We were saying, how can we be kind to ourselves? How can we be kind to others? And we said that that kindness takes wisdom, and wisdom takes humility. So that's where we are for today. Is we're looking at humility. So let's look at humility with a little bit of an eye. And I'm going to go back to here on our 1-year anniversary service. I'm going to go back to some tools. We're going to redo 2 tools that we've used here. We've used this change matrix, and if you're new here, I apologize. We're going to do this one kind of quickly, but you might be able, I think you'll be able to catch on to our little game here, is we have 2 rows and 2 columns. The columns are negatives and the benefits. The rows are not changing and changing.
Oh, tic-tac-toe.
It's just like tic-tac-toe. Thank you, Uncle Ira. Uncle Ira, your mic is a little live, so I'm going to mute you. So here's how we're going to play tic-tac-toe with only 4 squares. We think of this box down here as our pot of gold. If I do a thing, I could get a pot of gold. I'm going to get all the riches in the world. And if I don't change, and this is the way a lot of things are sold, there's this giant monster, there's this terrible thing that's happening. If I don't change, terrible thing. If I do change, I get everything in the world. And then we notice there are these 2 other boxes, quadrant 1 and quadrant 3, for everyone who's doing this for math extra credit. This one is, what are the detriments of having changed? So if we get humility, and that's what we're looking for today, if we have humility, we're going to gain certain things, but we will lose, we're going to have some problems we never had before. And if we don't, and this one is we had referred to as the mermaid, this is the one, by not having humility, we have a certain advantage now in not change than we did with change. Okay. Anyway, let me just see show of hands, because I jumped in. I'm like, hey, 8 o'clock, I have until 8:15 to get through this part of the topic, and I'm going to just jump right in. But I have no idea, without looking at the screen of all of you, how, give me on, down here with your hands as Rabbi, I am not ready to play at all on this grid that you just did. Or up here is like, come on, play ball, I'm in. And please just be on. I'd like, Bruce, I give you extra points for the honesty there. Thank you. That's great.
I can play ball, but my fingers aren't because you're going too fast for me to type.
Okay, and thank you, Lee, for taking some notes. If you don't get every word, that's fine. Just make sure there are no backslashes in it. So humility. If we were, let's start with this one, and I'm so glad we're all up and ready to play early this morning. If we are to have humility, more humility in our life, what are the advantages to having humility in our life? If we had more humility in our life, we would also get, what are the advantages to humility? What do we got? Give me something. Yeah, I want to. Well, I had everyone's hands at the top a moment ago, and now I only got 2 people, so something's going wrong with the system.
I see 3.
All right, I got more hands. Oh, fantastic. So why don't we do this? Write in the chat some of the advantages to humility, and don't hit send yet. But I'm going to ask everyone who wants to write an advantage to having humility, and I'll give you a big hint here, is if you got nothing else, we got what we started with today. Is that humility leads to wisdom, which leads to kindness. So if nothing else, we have a better chance of being kind. And hit enter, and let's see what we have. I'm going to ask, can I get a volunteer to read out some of those? Give me some. Barb Blake, I'm going to take your hand movement to mean that you wanted to read out. What are some of the things that we'd get? We can be kind if we have humility. What else would we get?
More humor. And ease to life, empathy.
All right, the system is not working right now. We can't hear you, Barb. Sorry about that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's what happens. You got volunteered for it. So, someone read to me off of the chat. What? Emily.
Change,
I
wisdom,
hate calling on kids.
happiness,
It's terrible. I'm going to leave you alone. Just wave. Can you
no
wave?
anger,
Say hi,
more
Emily.
humor, ease to life, empathy,
Okay,
inner
good.
peace.
Talk to me. Advantages of humility are kindness. What are other advantages of humility? Shout them out then.
Learn something.
Happiness.
Empathy.
Okay, this is the moment where I think, are my speakers working at all?
You're not hearing,
You're
Brad.
not hearing,
You're not
Brad.
hearing.
I can't
You're
hear a
not hearing
thing.
any of it.
We
Oh
can
no,
all
did we
hear.
lose audio? Oh,
Here.
Yeah,
shit.
you're
Yeah,
down.
you lost audio.
Hold
We all
on.
hear.
Hold on.
I hear you just fine.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Can I get a volunteer to speak? Because I don't think I can hear you. Can I get, whose
We
microphone's
hear
open?
you.
Nikki, could
and
you
we
say
hear
something?
everyone
We're
speak.
all talking.
We're all talking.
I don't think I have any audio. This is going to be fantastic. Oh, look at that. I see the problem. Okay, I got it. I have no idea how that happened.
Us too. We heard everybody.
We're good.
Get some pushback, Rabbi Brian, on hurrying.
Yes. And that's our service for today. Thank you very much. Okay, so apparently we know all the advantages. Could you hear each other?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic.
We had a great time.
Okay, so we know there are allotted advantages to having humility. Phew.
Yes.
Not having humility leads to some problems such as...
President of the United States.
No. Not having humility can't... Okay, you know what, though? I'm going to give you that one. I'm going to say not having humility can get you all the riches in the world. It might be advantageous to have no humility.
At any price.
Yeah, if you're going to take on the job as the CEO of America, you're probably not going to have humility. No president so far has not been somewhat narcissistic. It's just you don't become president unless you're somewhat narcissistic.
Yeah.
Okay.
A false sense of self-value.
Oh, yeah, your values are all messed up.
What values?
Right.
But you'll
You
think you
lack-
have them.
You lack empathy.
You lack empathy. Let's go with the hard ones now, because, oh my gosh. If you have humility, you are going to lose this thing that you currently enjoy. If you have humility,
Sense of security.
you are going to lose a sense of security. Give me some other ones. Hannah, Tyler, you have your hand raised. Hold on, I'm going to call on her.
Oh, I already answered. That was me.
Okay.
So it's good. Thank you, Alex, for taking my hand down.
So you're going to lose a sense of security.
Isolation.
You're going to lose isolation?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me, why is isolation a good thing? Why do I want that?
Oh, sometimes it's good to be in your own bubble.
Oh, yeah. Because this is my own reality.
Right, and I don't have to...
You avoid fear
or
of
expect
change.
others.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice one. You avoid change.
You lose your self-righteousness.
Oh, okay. Anyone have any questions why we don't do it? I think that's it, Ray. You lose self-righteousness. How many of us know many more people who need to lose their self-righteousness than we think we need to lose our own self-righteousness? Probably, yeah, okay. Isn't it fun being human? So strange.
I tell you, there's a great, I think a 14th century, 15th century mystic. I've mentioned it to Brian before. The Ramban said the greatest obstacle to humility is anger.
So if you have humility, you're going to have to
Give up your anger.
You're going to have to give up your anger, and anger makes us feel big. It makes us feel important. Let's go to the other one. We got 2 more minutes on this one. I'm just going to keep rushing now that I got the audio to work again. If we have humility, we're going to have this new problem we've never had before. We have humility, and now we have this problem that we've never had before.
Uncertainty.
We're going to have uncertainty, yeah. Fear.
We're going to lose self-promotion.
Ugh.
Painful self-awareness.
Oh, Al, I love that one. How many of us have experienced in the last 40 years some painful self-realizations? Yeah. Humility means you're going to have to see things about yourself you didn't want to see. But all of this, is it worth it? We're going to leave that as a question, because folks, I have a schedule of things for us to be doing.
Lord.
And
you're spending too much time worrying about it.
And if you guys ever want, Jane has to live with me, so please feel bad. But this is our notes, and I'm very excited. This is what we got today. So we're going to move.
Back of a sizzle pie box?
IKEA.
Oh.
Because pizza boxes trigger some people, and I wouldn't want to do that. Okay, so that was good. So now let me talk about the God thing. And thank you guys so much for last week. I had been using the phrase, and so for a long while, I talked about the God of your understanding, or I would say sometimes God, whatever it is you mean by the word God. And then for a little while, I got overly comfortable, and in writing, I would just write this because I didn't know how else to write it. Sometimes people will write G-D, and that's in an attempt to make sure that when the paper gets destroyed, we're not defacing God's name. I think God's over, the idea that this is going to piss God off. So I'm fine with writing G-O-D. But then I started doing G-O-D like that, and then I said G-O-D because I know people are like pizza boxes trigger some people. This word itself triggers some people, so I was just referring to it as the G-O-D word until last week when one of you so wisely said, when you call it the G-O-D word, it makes it sound like the N word or the C word or other words we're not supposed to say. And I'm like, yeah, you're not supposed to say it traditionally, but you make a really good point. So here's in our God-splaining moment. I realized that in a services are really functional for some things and don't really function well at others. And in a service, it's really... it's a convenient way for the person leading the service. Oh, and I have to do an announcement. Shoot, hold on. I need to time out because I did something and I wanted to do something before this, and I don't care if I don't get back to this in time. Is I started this last week and I want to do it again this week, and I want to read the names and honor the names of the people who were have the privilege of running this meeting, and in that capacity I want to read the names of those who were killed at the hands of law enforcement in the United States in the last 7 days. On April 27th, in Fullerton, California, Carlos Lopez Mendez was killed at age 50. On April 24th, in Los Angeles, California, Richard Solito, age 34, white man, was killed. And also April 24th, in Webbers Fall, Oklahoma, Benjamin Riley, 29, died at the hands of the police. April 24th, also in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, Marvin Velga, age 32, African-American, was killed by police. I think it's very important for us to honor the names of all of these people to bring awareness. It's sobering that we have this list at all, and that there are multiple people on this list every week. And I'd like to encourage you, if you run a meeting at all, and we'll have a link to it later, to please read the names of these people, because you have the privilege to do something, and I ask you to do something about it. Okay. Thank you for that. I got to go back to the God thing, but as I've said to... I learned this when I taught algebra. There was a phrase that says, there is no lesson in algebra that should not be interrupted for a lesson in humanity.
I love it.
Like that.
And my classroom was my where I was preaching. And if I realize I forgot to talk about the more important thing first, even in the discussion on the word God, and write a term paper on that, I think that's interesting. I'm going to interrupt the discussion on God to read the name of these people. Okay. That being said, let's transition back. I'm going to ask you guys a favor. This is going to the ideas of Alvin Reines, who we heard about last week a bunch from Michael. He was a rabbi who promoted something called polydoxy, as opposed to orthodoxy, just being one path. Polydoxy is many paths. Hold on one second. Yes, we're good. If you had two people on an island, and one believed a certain thing about God, and the other believed a different thing about God, does person A have the right to convince person B of who God is?
No.
Nope.
I see hands shaking. Okay, now, 5 people on the island. 4 of them all believe this. 1 of them believes that. Do the 4 have the right? Does the one...
No.
Now, instead of 5 people on the island, you now have 6.7 billion, except for 1.
Still no.
Oh,
No.
Okay? That's polydoxy. That's the idea that there's more than one right belief. There's more than one way of looking at it, the same way that everyone who's drawing a still life, even if they're painting the same still life, it has to come out differently simply because we all have different angles that we're looking at it from. None of us can have the same perspective. I think the same's true about God. Okay, great. Did that. I'm only a few minutes behind schedule. That's fine. Lottery, raffle tickets. We have been, for the past bunch of weeks, we have been giving people tickets because they did something of which they were proud. And we said that there would be a prize for everyone who we're going to do a drawing on the 1-year anniversary of the service. And so there's Lee, and there's Marilyn, and Tom, and Ruth, and Annie, and Wendy, and Koopa, and Barb, and if you didn't get your name in here, we're going to have, during the announcements, we're going to put up in the link a place that you can put your name in too. If you did something in the last week that you are proud of having done and you feel like, gosh darn it, I deserve a lottery ticket too. Can I see your hand raised? Did you do something in the last week you're proud of? Okay, now here I had this in, I was falling asleep and I thought about doing this, so pardon me for this, but this is going to be cheesy and awesome. Watch this. And how about you, friends at home? Those of you watching on YouTube later, those of you watching on Facebook, did you do something you're proud of? This is my Mr. Rogers moment.
Man, you're getting polished.
That was an excellent Mr. Rogers.
Thank you. That's what I'm...
Wow.
I think it's really important that we share with each other that we're proud of ourselves. And I know this flies in the face of humility, but I think we got to have a little bit of, we did good. I'm all right. The world might tell me otherwise, but I did good nonetheless. And I got at least 6 people's hands who are up. Can I ask you to rapid fire just say the word it is or 2 words it is of the thing that you're proud of? We'll start with Marcus. What do you got that you're proud of?
I rescued a whole bunch of birds that were trapped at Fred Meyer's.
Amen. Give him some
Yay.
shakes. Jeffrey Horner, what do you got, buddy?
Oh, I gave good advice to someone.
And you're proud of yourself. Give it to him. Lee, what do you have? Annie is making notes of all the people. Lee, what do you got?
Comforted a coworker who had to resign from her job.
Oh, God bless
Yay.
you. And Bob, what do you have?
I had a different discussion, but you can go ahead with some other people.
Okay, thank you. Steve.
Held my family together through a bunch of different tragedies for different members.
Good on you, man.
Good
And
I shared my favorite sandwich with my husband.
oh, Emily, that's lovely.
That might be the most hardest thing
To do-
anybody.
Ruth Bernstein, my friend, what do you have?
I helped a friend who's new to hearing loss.
You helped them out? Wonderful. Wonderful. All right, Ann Mayer, what do you have?
I created a presentation to teach some of my coworkers how to make their documents more accessible to people with disabilities.
Wonderful. Great.
I did that too.
Ron?
I helped started setting up a Patreon site for a school for orphans in Kenya.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, very nice.
Wow, Betsy.
I called a friend to make sure it was all right.
That's beautiful. I love that. Janice.
I let my daughter solve her own problems.
Oh, that's a hard one. Good on
big
you.
one. That's a big one.
Hannah? Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
I resigned from a job that was no longer serving me.
Good for you. Kind to your
Oh, good, Hannah.
kind to yourself.
Yeah.
I love it. And these just came in. My daughter dropped off all extra ones. I have some good news about this because I was thinking about what the prize is for pulling the ticket. And the answer is everyone's getting the prize. Because, like, who am I? And who is fate to decide who gets the prize? So everyone who wants one, when we have the announcement section, is going to give you a way of putting in your email address, and the prize will be sent to you. So it's a great prize. It's something my friend Larry came up with, and I tweaked, and then I had somebody lay it out beautifully, and I think you're really going to
You're
enjoy
not
it.
going to tell us what the prize is?
It's a PDF. I am now. It's a PDF with instructions, step-by-step instructions, and it's called, and let me see your hands if it's something you think you might enjoy or need. It's called How to Deal with Impossible People.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we've got at least 2 people who could be interested in
like
that.
me?
That's good enough for me. Good. Here we are in our fast pace. I'm at 8:20. Then we go over. Oh, Kip, my deep dive buddy.
Yes, sir.
Kip here? There's Kip.
Yes.
I can't hear you, though. This is a day of technical difficulties. All right, I'm going to skip what I was going to do, and I'm going to move to this. Time for the story of Charlie and the Condom.
It's okay.
Everybody ready? Here's the story. My friend Charles, years ago, was on a date with a woman, and they had seen each other a few times, and she had come back to his place, and he's there, and things are going exactly on like Charlie's plans of how he hoped things were going, until he realized he was out of condoms. So he says to his friend, I will be right back. I'm going to the 7-Eleven. I'm going to pick up some beer. What kind would you like? An answer is given. Charlie goes. Charlie sees the clerk. And it's the clerk that Charlie has bad blood with for whatever reason. They just kind of snarl at each other when they check out. And Charlie gets the beer, picks up the condoms, hands the guy $20, and he gets change. And the change he gets the condoms, he gets the beer, he gets a few coins, and he gets $5 back. And he got the change as though he had given the clerk $10 and not $20. The clerk kind of snarls at him, and Charles kind of snarls at the guy, and Charles' blood starts to boil because he knows he gave the guy $20, and he's being stiffed $10 right here. And then as Charles tells the story, he realized he had this choice. If he got mad about the $10, he would lose the joy that his purchase would probably bring. We all understanding the story? I'm telling it a little bit of code,
Rabbi.
but yes, you're in. If he got mad about the $10, his night would get ruined. And he realized at that moment, I'm not going to let this guy ruin my night for $10. I'll pay a $10 cover charge for this. It's a story of don't sweat the
Cover
small
charge,
stuff.
very nice.
And I'm going to ask us, we're going to go into small groups. Alex, if you can set us up to be ready to go to groups of 5. If you don't want to go to a group, don't. You just stay here with me, and that's fine. But here's what I want to ask you. I want to ask you in the group to say, with regard to this skill that Charlie has, with regard to this skill of doing a Charlie, of consciously choosing not to get upset, not to get more triggered when we're slightly triggered. With regard to this skill, I would put myself at a level 2? All the way up to a level 5. And if you're not familiar with the 5 levels that we often use, just pick a number. It's fine. If you're going to do it according to the Vygotsky's stages of development, that's fine. But it's still 1 to 5. So I want you in the small groups. In a moment, we're going to go to small groups, and we'll have a moment of time. I want you to go around, and I want everyone to say, with regard to this, on the road towards doing a Charlie, of not losing my stuff over the unimportant things, I thought of this one. I posted to Facebook how much I was so excited that there are now clear Post-it notes. Did anyone else not know that they have clear Post-it notes? They have clear Post-it notes, folks. Okay, now we know.
No.
Clear Post-it.
Yeah.
I posted to Facebook about clear Post-it notes. And I had this idea in my head that somebody obviously would buy and send me clear Post-it notes because I had posted this to Facebook. And I came home, and guess what I saw? I saw my house. And I thought, if I'm going to get upset that nobody randomly sent me clear Post-it notes, I'm a schmuck. I have a house. My life is fine. So, this is... Oh, I lost the speakers again.
Yeah, you haven't been able to hear us for a while. We've been talking to you.
Okay, well, thank you all for that lovely feedback.
I hear you.
We've heard you the whole time.
You know what's really funny is I don't like pontificators, but I just pontificated. All right. So are we all ready to go to these small groups to talk about what level you're able to do a Charlie? We all understand what doing a Charlie means?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do with condoms.
I'm calling it doing a Charlie. So, Alex, are we ready to send people to the breakout rooms?
I am not transcribing that.
Yes, we are. I'm gonna open the room.
Okay, the rooms are open. You do not need to go to the rooms, but the rooms will be open. So go right ahead
The
and
rooms are now open. You should see a thing on your screen that invites you to go. You can just click yes. If you don't want to go, just don't say yes.
Alex, do we have a timer on that?
I did not set a timer.
Okay, can we do 4 minutes and then it gives them the 1 minute warning?
I can do that.
Thank you. All right, well, hello to the people who are still here. Oh, this is the best part of the group, so that's fine. It gets recorded, though, so they get to see it. Wait, can you hear me now? I think I found out the problem. No, dang it.
Yep, we can hear you.
All right, so folks, and Chad and Lisa, welcome. I don't remember seeing you guys here before. Welcome. You don't have to participate just because you're... everyone gets to do what they like. So talk to me, people who are here. On a scale of 1 to 5, how well do you do a Charlie? Let's start with Marcus. Just give us the whole thing.
Probably between a 3 and a 4.
All right. And you're getting better at doing Charlies as you get older or worse?
I think I'm getting better.
Trending positive. 3 to 4 trending positive. Nikki, how about you?
Oh, I'd say I'm between a 3 and a 5, depending on what
Right.
quality is.
Right, there's some days where you can just bat it out of the park, and there's some moments where you're like, boy, I wish I had batted that out of the park.
Right.
Yeah, all right, I got you. Jordan, what do you got? And of course, I'm calling on people, and then I'm gonna stop doing that because I don't want you to feel like you have to talk. But Marcus, Nikki, and Jordan, sorry.
I don't mind being called on, but I arrived late and I missed the whole Charlie.
Okay. So, go ahead.
I was gonna say sorry. Everything froze up on me when I was talking, so that's why I didn't share.
Yeah, your audio went weird. Anyone else have comments about, quote, doing a Charlie, close quote?
What is it?
Somebody explain. That would be the best. Can somebody explain this? Can we, as a group, explain it to Jordan?
Not letting... Is my audio bad?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. Not letting small things or big things ruin or take away your joy.
That you go on a cruise and they lose your suitcase. Is this going to ruin your cruise? Okay, that might be a medium-sized one, but that the waiter gives you wrong change and you know it was kind of deliberate. Are you going to let that piss you off for the entire day?
Yeah, I see.
How well do you do at that?
I'm going to say it's not situation, but it's domain dependent, right? If it's getting the wrong change, if it's dropping something in a puddle, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
But personal relationship stuff, I sometimes let get bigger than it should.
Right. I do that same thing. Yeah, Alex.
Well, I think for me, it kind of depends on the day and what happened, right? I mean, we had a situation yesterday where we took the truck in because the horn wasn't working, and we got the truck back, and the horn still wasn't working. And so for me, there was like this 30 seconds of rage, right?
Yeah.
And then, but it didn't ruin my day.
Good.
But I think Scott took it harder because I was really annoyed. And so he was, I think.
You were mad at the wrong person.
Well, I was mad at him because he drove it home, and I'm like, didn't you think to check the horn before you left the dealership?
Right. Right.
But I was mad for like 30 seconds, and then it was over, right? And but I think it just, a lot of it just depends on what it is and who it is and when it is, because I think it also kind of ties into that spiritual barometer.
Right. If I'm in a bad mood, the guy at the checkout's going to piss me off. But if I'm in an okay mood, it's not going to piss me off.
Right.
Yeah. And I wonder, I mean, this is the question is, which came first? Was I in the bad mood before he shortchanged me? And now or is the shortchanging the thing that's putting me in? Where's that coming from? All right, we'll leave that as a mystery. I see people nodding heads. Alex, what's our time like? I forgot to set a timer.
The timer is we've done our 4 minutes, so now the breakout rooms have 1 minute.
They are coming back.
They're counting down right now.
And here they come back. Hello, folks. Jordan, I can gladly announce that Jordan did not beat me in chess last week.
That's true.
It's true. We didn't play, but you didn't beat me last week, so I'm taking that as a win.
That works.
Okay. This is good. This is fantastic. We're going to do Where's my announcements?
And we're back.
What are they? What's they all coming back? Marcus, you ready for your big solo? Your microphone, dude.
All right. Let me get to the announcements. Who's going to sing the song?
Oh, it's coming. Here we go.
Okay.
Here we are.
We're back.
Saturday service announcements. There's the song, and today our announcement reader is going to be none other than Marcus. So go right for it,
Marcus. All right. Announcements for May 1st. Hello, Marcus. Today's announcement for Saturday service. Today is May Day, the first day of May 21. Here are the announcements. All links mentioned in this announcement can be found in the Zoom chat. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you can always join us here in Zoom. Find links to join live on Zoom in the 77% weekly Rabbi's 40 out of 2 week a year newsletter. It's a well-written 5-minute read that sticks with you all week. So last newsletter was about nothing. So next week, join us live here for Saturday service. Shekinah Council. The Shekinah Council was formed last week. Emails were shared, advice given, advice received, good stuff. All right. Join us here for Donut Hour. It follows immediately after the service. Joe's the host of Donut World and is AFK. Her role this week will be played today by Rabbi Brian. So join us for the second hour, Donut Hour, and bring your own donuts. Kim will be leading deep divers in the deep dive room, and Rabbi Brian moderating the main group. And the third room, which opened a few weeks ago, now has a name. The third room. The third room is come and anyone else interested in being part of this no host group. Elderly support group.
Clergy support group.
Clergy support group. Sorry. Thank you. Shoot RD emails to remind if you're interested or know people who would be interested in another short run clergy support group. Accountability buddy.
Oh, accountability buddies. That's a hard word.
That's something. Would you take plan towards self-kindness more seriously and made it as part of a commitment with another person? If so, you can use an accountability buddy. How do you get the perfect accountability buddy? Use the ROTB online accountability buddy matching service. Fill out the survey and meet your ROTB buddy in about a week or so.
Keep going. You're doing great.
The Religion Outside the Box Clubhouse. It is not officially open yet, but we have had a few people into the clubhouse. If you want to join the private ROTB clubhouse as a beta tester, and you're willing to take an extra step of verifying your email address, you can go there right now. Link in the beta link. in the chat. In next Saturday service.
Wait, Marcus, let me try saying that one again. So the clubhouse officially opens next week. You can sign on the link. There's another link that says mn.rotb.org. If you are the kind of person who would like to beta test and you want in early and you don't mind doing email verification once, you can come in as soon as you want. Everyone else, just fill out the form and we'll send you an invitation to the clubhouse. Sorry, Marcus.
That's all right. Chats with Larry. Audio quality this week is a bit rough, but it only somewhat distracts from Larry's message. That's because true love is infinite. We all have been afforded grace beyond our worth. There are 3 episodes from the moment Rabbi Brian asked Larry. The calls have been recorded and asked permission to share them. Google Chats with Larry and listen. Also on Spotify. Donations. Donations make ROTB magic happen. The more money in the ROTB bank makes it easier for Rabbi Brian to make more ROTB magic happen. Gives make a big difference. Consider making a monthly tip to the Rabbi donation, and thank you all who already do. Right to James. Rabbi Brian just received proof with some errors in it. That's the Eye of James' newest book, hopefully available later this month. Help Rabbi Brian make James laugh. He's writing a letter or a card that starts with the words, Rabbi Brian told me to start this letter with these words. Return address if you want. This prison justice from the inside warrior to write you back. Appreciation time. This week's appreciation theme song is. I don't sing. Sorry. Somebody else.
Keep going. No song necessary.
Okay. Thank you for the following things. Kip, Deep Dive Master. Alex, Technical Assistance. Lead, Note-taking, Maria, monitoring the chat. Tony Ann,
Liturgy support.
Because it's you, and you're doing a pretty darn good job. Now back to you, Rabbi Brian.
Thank you, Marcus. Let's give Marcus some loving.
Thank
you, Marcus.
You did it.
You made it.
You did good.
A lot of announcements. Thank you. I'm very excited about a lot of the things that are coming up. Thank you for doing. I wanted to start something called the 40-minute review, and that's exactly what we're going to do right now. And it goes like this. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
I'm panicked now. Okay. 40-minute review goes like this. At 40 minutes, what are some phrases, thoughts, or pieces of learning that have come that I could say, you know what? This is something we talked about today. What's something that we learned or we did so we can be here at a 40-minute review and we can say, hey, you know what? We learned blank, or a phrase we batted around, or a thought we batted around was?
Humility and condoms.
Okay, I'm not quite sure that. So here I'm gonna let me make it a little. It should be in the form of something that somebody, if they saw our tweet, they would know immediately what it meant. So just this humility and condoms, yes, we did learn about that, but that's not a transferable bit of information in that form.
Pulling a Charlie.
Humility may be hard.
Humility might be hard. I love it. Kip, you had something.
Humility leads to wisdom, which leads to kindness.
Humility leads to wisdom, which leads to kindness. And then we found out that humility might be difficult. What else did we get?
Get angry over small things.
Yeah. Try not to sweat the small stuff. Not to get upset over small things.
Yeah, similarly, I have the capacity to keep my anger in check.
Ah, only you can put out forest fires. I am
Smokey.
give me what the word was, Tom.
I said I have the capacity.
I have the capacity, and then the capacity
to keep my anger in check.
I am Smokey the Bear.
Okay, to keep anger in check. That's grand. Look at what we've gotten so far today. And none of this
humility is Lee can't type as fast as she thinks she can.
Yeah, humility leads to. It's hard. Oh, great! Thank you for our 40. Anything else that we pulled out?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ray.
Each of us look at God in a different way, and we're all right.
Nice.
Way to go, Ray.
And Kate, I see you have something.
Oh, I was going to say almost exactly what Ray said. I actually wrote down if we're all drawing a still life, it's all going to be different based on our perspective.
Yeah.
As a lovely metaphor for that. I like that one a lot.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Lovely. Lovely things we got 40 minutes in. We still have a little bit of time, so I got following my thing.
How much pizza box left?
It's not a pizza box. Stop saying pizza box.
IKEA is just as triggering, Rabbi Brian.
I have another.
It's the sleeves.
I have another quote that I wanted to bring, and here it is. It's coming. It's coming. This is the quote from Shantideva. It goes like this: "Where would I find enough leather to cover the entire surface of the earth? But with leather soles beneath my feet, it's as if the whole world has been covered." Where would I find enough leather to cover the entire surface of the earth? Right, there are rocks, there are stones, there are prickly things. But with leather soles beneath my feet, it's as if the whole world has been covered. Al Franken said it similarly. Al Franken says, "Stop thinking the world should be carpeted, wear slippers."
Oh, I like that.
Lego.
How many of us do this?
What?
How many of us complain, "I would be calm if it weren't for them"? You get it?
That has happened before.
What happened?
What we're saying when we say "I would be calm if it weren't for them" is that the entire world should be covered with leather. The whole world should be carpeted. Shantideva also said, how are we doing on time? Oh, I have time for it. This is fantastic. This is one of my favorite quotes ever. He said this, and what I like about teaching this one
fire.
is that it looks like the stupidest thing I've ever taught. Fire is hot.
I have this on my wall at work from you, Brian.
You do.
It's great.
The
Had
sky
it from years ago.
sometimes has clouds. Now, I will tell you at this point, when you go to tell this to someone, you're like, "Fire is hot. The sky sometimes has clouds." And you know what it means, but they don't. I want you to remember this moment right now when you don't understand what this means and you're like, "This is stupid." Because when you try to explain this to someone, it takes a moment. This is stupid, but it's brilliant. Let me unpack it for you. We're going to get angry at them because we think the problem's outside. And why? I'm sorry, let me say this again. We get angry and frustrated and we think that the world should be different. And then why are those people being mean? If they weren't mean, I would be fine. And the reason that they're mean, the reason that we get upset is fire is hot. And the sky sometimes has clouds. Rabbi, you still haven't said anything. You're just repeating the same stupid 2 sentences over and over again. I know. Let's try it this way. Anyone, even the Jews among us, going to argue with the fact that fire is hot?
No.
I know my
I mean,
people.
maybe.
Yeah, okay.
Hotter than what?
We're all willing to accept that fire is hot. And we're all willing to accept that the sky sometimes has clouds. Why is fire hot? It's in its nature to be hot. Why does the sky sometimes have clouds? Because that's what the sky does. Why are people assholes? Because it's in the nature of people.
Sometimes they are.
Because it's in the nature of people to be self-centered. Why are people so self-critical? Why aren't people as humble as they should be? Why aren't I as humble as I should be? Why aren't I as grandiose as I should? Because this is how we are. It's in our nature. It's in our nature to be rude, and it's in our nature to be loving, and that's just how we are. And when we try to argue with it, what happens?
Frustration.
We get frustrated.
Yep.
Okay. Let me bring us back to the original quote. What does this quote mean for you as of Monday? So Monday comes along. How is this quote going to go with you on Monday? Do I have enough leather to cover the entire world, or should I just wear shoes? What does that mean? What does that mean on Monday? Does it mean that
Change my reaction.
Yeah, there's only one thing you can do. And you know what? It's probably even easier if you just put shoes on. If you just change your reaction, the whole system's different. You're now wearing leather shoes everywhere. You're now carpeted everywhere.
Mm-hmm. How about change it to kindness?
Yeah. I don't think kindness is ever wrong.
Yeah. Now, there's one thing.
Yeah, Betsy.
Okay, if you're walking around on your floor barefoot and you notice there are cracker crumbs on your floor, then you can sweep your floor.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. My father had this. My father and mother had this argument. My mother walked barefoot. My father wore slippers. And my mother said, if you didn't wear slippers, you would notice that there are crumbs on the floor. And my father said, that's why I wear slippers. He didn't. If there's no mess, if you don't feel it, it's not there.
Fair enough.
Okay. You know what's bizarre let me say, so when you go on Clubhouse, you will see the person who advised me about running the services. We have a name change, and she goes by Afia now, A-F-I-A. So when you go into Clubhouse and you see Afia and you're like, that looks a lot like Tony. It is the same person. We just got a name change going on, so to be aware of that. And Afia is going to laugh her ass off at me because I said, I have all this to do. I have all this to do, and I want to do all of it, and I'm going to do a fast-paced service, but it's okay because I'm going to tell him it's going to be fast-paced, and it should be fine like that. And she says, Rabbi, do what you want. And now I'm looking at it, and I was running out of time the entire time, and now I'm looking at the clock, and Afia is just laughing her ass off at me because I'm early.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
That's because the fire is hot and the sky has clouds.
That's fire is hot. The sky sometimes has clouds. Oh, this is fantastic. Okay.
Rabbi, I'm going to interrupt. Typing.
Go ahead.
I'm going to interrupt because in the chat, Sean posted a quote, a Viktor Frankl quote that relates to what you were just saying. Said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom.
Yeah, that is a beautiful quote. Nice. There it is, right? If you look on the screen right now, you see it again. It's from Frankl. Between stimulus and response, between the time that Charlie sees that the change is wrong and from the time that he reacts, there's a space. And the longer we can make that space, the more conscious we can be about what we're doing, the easier our life is. Mm-hmm. Amen?
Amen.
Between stimulus and response, there is a space. And let me ask this. How do you think you could get that space to be bigger?
Practice.
I take
Wait.
Definitely.
Humility.
Okay. Practice. I'm going to say whatever your answer was, try that this week.
Have kids.
Rabbi Brian, can I say something?
Yeah, please.
One of the comments that has stuck in my mind from James's book, the one Righting Our Wrongs.
Yeah, his first book.
Somebody said, one of the people who wrote said, if only I had taken time to take a breath before I acted.
Yeah.
He'd actually killed somebody. And he said if he had stopped to breathe, then he wouldn't have destroyed his own life and he wouldn't have destroyed other people.
If you haven't read this book, if you haven't read this book, I highly recommend it. Send me. You can get it off of Amazon. It's called Right Our Wrongs. This was James's first book, and I'll give a little so you know. James works on the inside in the prison as a prisoner, working towards prison reform, working towards rehabilitating as many people inside as he can in a system that keeps it's just stacked against everything that he's doing. And Marcus read it in the announcements, and I'm going to reiterate it because, hey, now I have a minute. Could you write him a card this week? Because I think it would be really funny if everyone wrote him a card that says, Rabbi Brian asked me to write a card. And I think he'll laugh. And if you don't want to put your return address, don't. If you want him to write back to you, do. It's good stuff in there. Okay, we're going to end up this way. We're going to go into Donut Hour. And it goes like this. You have 3 choices in Donut Hour today. If you change on your name, if you're able to change your name right now, and you change the first letters of your name to DD, we're going to put you in deep dive. If you put any number, we're going to put you, and then your name, we're going to put you in group 3, the new and improved room 3, the third room. This is going to be deep dive. And if you are, so if you, at this moment, you change your name, and I'm still going to be hosting because Joe's not able to be here today. So change it to any number and you'll go to the third room, any D for deep dive. And before we do that, let me ask everybody, because now we can see it. Can we still hear me?
Brian.
Yeah.
I can hear you. Let's say goodbye to our friends on Facebook.
What's the third room? Can you describe it?
The third